Hi everyone, welcome to Curated by Becta's Meal Kit number 87 for February 10th to 12th and also Valentine's Day, February 14th. Thanks so much for ordering one of our special meal kits this week. And for all of you Valentine's Day folks out there, thanks for letting us be a part of your very special romantic celebration. We've got a terrific menu for you tonight. There's a couple more pots and pans than normal, so apologies, but we really wanted to make this something special over the Valentine's Day weekend. And so trust me, a couple extra dishes are going to be worth it. I am going to do the appetizer and main course at the same time because I have the luxury of 6 burners, but I would really encourage you to take your time, do the appetizer first, and then do the main course next, and then you'll have lots of space on your stovetop if you only have 4 burners. So why don't I go ahead and get started on the appetizer. There's 2 pans that are going to be required for here, and both to medium heat, I believe. To medium, yes. The first one is going to be for your risotto, and so we have cooked the risotto already, and there's lots of delicious dairy in there, and you just take it out of the block, sort of mush it up a little bit, but before I mush it up completely, I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter and throw it in there, and then 2 tablespoons of water, and that's going to finish it off nicely. In the other pan, I am going to do the mushrooms, and let's see what I've got. And 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter per person for the mushrooms. And I also am going to, at the same time, just so the video is not super long, going to sear up our steak. So I'm going to get this to high heat, and then I'm going to turn on my hood fan, so hopefully you guys can still hear me well. We have done this gorgeous sirloin sous vide already, so it's already cooked to rare, and it's going to be super tender because it's been cooked nice and slow for a long time sous vide. You're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to it. It has some seasoning on it, but we want to do more. When you take it out of the bag, just put it on some paper towel and pat it dry, like I've done here. Lovely. And we'll get that ready. And we're going to do 2 tablespoons of either grapeseed oil or canola oil per person. And I forgot that I'm going to need some butter for that as well. So let me pull some butter out because I need to butter bathe this thing afterwards in order to make it luxurious mouthfeel. And I've also gone ahead and put our sweet potato puree in a pot and our demi-glaze in a pot as well. And so let me turn that on a little bit. There we go. I'm going to put that on low. And this guy also on low because it'll warm up slowly. I should have preheated the pan, so apologies, this is going to take another minute or 2 longer than it should for you if you've followed the instructions better than I and preheated your pans. So just make sure that the butter and water get spread around nicely on the risotto. And while that's happening, I can take my mushrooms and throw them in this guy and get that going on. Let me tell you about the wines. So obviously one of our all-time favorites, the Blanc de Becta. Now, this is a sparkling wine that we do in-house with the lovely folks at Cave Spring Cellars. Peter, our general manager at Becta, is married to the Cave Spring rep, Lauren, and they make terrific wine, and they give us access to some of the best Chardonnay. Aged 29 months on the lees minimum, which is longer than most entry-level champagnes, and it's just fantastic. Done in the traditional method, sparkling, and it tastes vibrant, toasty, citrus, minerality, and it's just incredible. And we thought for Valentine's Day, you got to have some bubbles. So there you have it. And then for the main course, most of you will be getting the Pagos De Aries. Hope I'm pronouncing that properly. My Spanish is not so good. And it is this gorgeous red from the Navarra region of Spain. However, a few lucky people, because we just sold like crazy this week, and so a few of you on Valentine's Day are going to get this amazing Rioja. They're both delicious. They're both exactly the same price to us, actually, and they'll both knock your socks off. But we'll include the descriptions of both within the email that gets sent to you with the link to this, the finishing instructions. Okay, so I'm going to keep stirring my risotto. Make sure that it's not clumpy. By the way, if you like your beef, oh, this is getting nice and hot. So, hood fan. Because you want it nice and super hot. If you like it more than medium rare, then you are going to turn your oven on to 400 degrees ahead of time. Hopefully you're watching the video ahead of time, not while you're cooking. And if you want it more than medium rare, then 5 minutes for each degree of doneness. So if you want to go to medium, 5 minutes at 400, medium well, another 5 minutes after that. But I think you'll find that it's super tender because of the sous vide cooking. 2 minutes on each side on that guy, and then we are going to add some butter and bathe it, and we are also going to rest it. Super, super, super important. Do not serve your beef right away hot. You want it to rest, and it'll cool down just a little bit, but it will have so much more deliciousness and texture to it. Mushrooms are looking good. We've got a nice sear going on. So I'm going to turn this guy over. Let's see what else we need to be working on. Oh yeah, the veg. We're going to get this guy preheated to medium heat for our veg, and it's going to be about 5 minutes for the carrots and broccoli. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to need some more butter for that too. We don't skimp on the butter on the Valentine's Day meal kit. So 2 more tablespoons of unsalted butter. Make sure it is unsalted that you're doing. Okay, I've got some watercress, by the way, for the appetizer. We're just going to put a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, and that's going to be for our garnish. This guy's looking good. I'm going to do a quick sear on the outside as well, because I've got some red on one side, so why not? Always good to sear it up. If yours is a square brick like mine is, then you can do this. And the risotto, that's nice. Break it up. Turn that guy off. Mushrooms are looking good. Now, I'm going to turn this down to low on the beef. And I should have thought of this ahead of time, but we're going to drain the oil from it, and then that's where we put the butter in. Voila. And as soon as the butter melts, which is going to go very quickly, get a spoon. I'm going to turn my mushrooms off, by the way, while the butter's melting. There we go. And just spoon the butter out on the steak a few times each side of the 2 sides you sear. If you want to do it a little more, by all means. It's not going to hurt it. Now with the carrots and broccolini, I believe we're doing some oil first. Yes, 1 tablespoon of neutral oil per person. Pan is hot. This guy's going to turn off. Let me not burn myself. A little bit more on this. And I like a cookie sheet for my resting. I'm going to keep this pan here. Actually, I might switch it because I really like this burner for my sauteing so it doesn't beep at me. mushrooms looking great. And I think I've got to season both of them with salt and pepper. Both the risotto and the mushrooms. Voila. Make sure my veg is all getting nice and brown. Spread it out in the pan. So I would use a bigger pan for the broccolini and carrots. We make sure 5 minutes per person until they begin to caramelize, and then we're going to add some butter after that. Okay, so I think I can go ahead and start plating the risotto. I've got these lovely tall bowls. This is a lot of risotto. You guys are definitely not going to be hungry after this meal. Okay, mushrooms next. There's quite a few components to this dish. Now, all of the mushrooms for this week's menu come from Le Copain, otherwise known as Christophe's mushrooms, because Christophe is the guy who cultivates them. And he's an amazing supplier that we have used for like 19 years now. He's pretty incredible. Turn that guy off. I'm going to give my sweet potato puree a little spin. And, oh yes, there we go. A little whisk, which is very handy dandy for the demi-glaze. Okay, going back to plate the risotto. Always good to have some paper towels around to clean up the plates. Okay, mushrooms, then toasted almonds. And I actually am not going to be eating this meal tonight, which is crazy. This is the first time I'm cooking the meal and not eating it, because it's Chef Rich Wilson's celebratory dinner for making his partnership. He became a partner with us recently, and we have been putting off this dinner because of a number of reasons, and it's just nice to be able to go and celebrate him tonight. So, Chef Rich, I can't wait to celebrate you. Okay, this is getting some nice brown on it. I probably had the heat a touch high, so let me throw the butter in now. Back to this, almonds, then the salsa verde. Give this a little stir so that the oil gets mixed in there. And you can just drizzle it around. Make sure to get it on some of the side because we've got the watercress as well. And we want to make sure that you see all the different lovely components to the dish. Then our cheese is next, Saint Nitouche, which the chef is a huge fan of. That's just going to melt right in there. Give it a creamy consistency. And then finally, the beautiful watercress. By the way, before I forget, make sure to take the caramel sauce out of your dessert container and bring it up to room temperature. The rest can stay in the fridge, but the caramel sauce needs to be room temperature in order to be able to pour properly. There we go. I'm just going to turn this off now, let it sit. This is one good looking appetizer, let me tell you. Very Valentine's Day. I think this one's even prettier. I can clean up the plate. There is our Le Copain mushroom risotto with the watercress, mushrooms, of course, the Saint Nitouche cheese, and the salsa verde. Okay, I know that I need to season the salt and pepper, the veg. Give my demi-glaze a little stir because you get a little skin on top of it. We can move this stuff out of the way. And this guy is done. Now let's bring the steaks over. I guess I can turn this guy off now so you can hear me. And I can also bring the dessert out of the fridge and get that ready. I'm going to give it another second and plate up the dessert first because I really want that steak to be nice and rested. So here we are with our dark chocolate mousse cake and done in a bomb. And you know what? I noticed that my caramel is a little firm. I didn't pull it out early enough. So what I'm going to do is put it on the base. You can put it on the base or around depending on how soft it is for you. Sometimes I have to make adaptations because I'm coming straight from work. So I'm going to spread this around on the base. Get around the outside so that you can see it. And it's not just all under the bomb. Very nice. Now I can put that on there. I'm going to need a little bit of water because I'm going on the outside of the plate. And then we've got our pomegranate because we need some red stuff for the Valentine's Day weekend. Guys, it's been a hard week downtown Ottawa, I got to tell you, with the protests and stuff. So I'm certainly thrilled with your support of us through Curated by Becta. It's been a couple of weeks, in fact, all the horn honking and stuff, and we've had to close indoor dining. But, you know, we still have this great program. We can deliver stuff to you at home, so thank you. There is our beautiful dark chocolate mousse cake with the pomegranate and the salted caramel. All right, let us get the party started on our main course. So sweet potato puree, you do not need to season this. I'm going to spread it out. I'm going to do a little less on this one because my son doesn't like the sweet potato stuff as much as my wife does. Again, make sure to spread it out so you can see it when you're doing your photos, which we love, by the way, if you take photos and post them online because other people get to learn about it. And we'd love to see how you did the plating. And it does not need to look like mine. Very important that you all know that. Because I kind of make things up as I go along. Sometimes the chef is like, hey, that was some great plating. And sometimes he's like, hey man, I really wish you would do something like this. Okay, so the veg is going to go next. Want some of that nice green, and then the reds of the heirloom carrots, and the whites. Make sure my son gets some broccolini because he needs some greens in his life, as all kids do. Although he's 16 now, he eats pretty well on his own. He's like Mr. Healthy, goes to the gym every day. It's a lot better than I do. Okay, now the steak. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the grain on the steak so you can pull it apart and see where the grain is. So in this case, it's running this way, and we're going to cut opposite to this. So chef always really likes things in threes. So one way to do it is flip it around so that you see the red. That's like that. So we're going this way. Voila. And before you put the demi-glaze on, feel free to give it a little seasoning so it's also on the inside. And if you have some crunchy salt, I use fleur de sel that we get at Farm Boy. But Malden salt is great, which we use in the restaurant a lot. There we go. And of course, the final ingredient, let me make sure I turn this off, is going to be our gorgeous demi-glaze. You know what? I'm gonna get a soup spoon. So I like to put the demi-glaze on the beef and then also around the plate. Fantastic. There is your lovely sous vide strip beef sirloin done with the roasted carrots, broccolini, sweet potato puree, and demi-glaze. I hope everyone has a fantastic celebration at home this Valentine's Day weekend. Thanks for ordering. Thanks for all of your amazing support. And we can't wait to see you in the restaurants, hopefully really soon, and also to be able to cook and curate for you again at home.